Welcome to the Redvee TV Show, supported by Chapel House for the 2023 season. Kevin, they thought they'd got rid of us last Friday, but we're carrying on. Season never ends for Redvee, does it?
No, it doesn't. Gonna carry on going.
This weekend, Paul Wellens looking very sternly as he adjusts his game plans for the shopping and the DIY.
Which one of them two are you doing?
Well, you wouldn't want to let me loose in the house with a screwdriver, so I'm combing the beans aisle of Aldi.
Fair enough.
Other supermarkets are available.
Yeah. Yeah. Who wanted to go to Old Trafford anyway? We've been...
Do you know what? It's tedious. How boring is it going there every single year lifting the trophy? Let someone else have that horrible little feat.
Oh.
Hey, Kev, are you going to watch it on Saturday?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. I've no interest in it. Although no. I was asked on Sunday after we got that from our trip who I would be rooting for on Saturday. I immediately started my Catalana chant. I think it goes without saying. I think it'd be a bit weird if a Saints fan wanted Wigan to win even a raffle.
Well, there's a difference between wanting them to win and the lesser of two evils.
Well, yeah.
The only time I'm not fussed about Wigan winning a grand final would be if they were playing Warrington. And I think we've had this conversation before previously, and definitely on Redvee TV, where if Wigan were playing Warrington in the final, Wigan are a massive club. Always have been, always will be, our traditional rivals. Wigan will always, in a cycle, win trophies, just as we will. And eventually Leeds will come back to fruition as well, and they'll probably will in another 20 years. But you can guarantee in the next 10 years, Saints will win a grand final. Wigan will win a grand final. It's just what our clubs do. We win trophies between us. So if Wigan win a trophy, it's just, Wigan have won Super League this year. But if Warrington were to win it, it would ruin every joke, every laugh, every song, forever. So if Wigan were playing Warrington in the grand final, I'd probably take a Wigan win. Not that I'd be supporting them.
But would it not be funny if Warrington broke the hoodoo against Wigan so we could still give Wigan grief for allowing that to happen?
That's what we'd have to do.
That's the balance, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to do something. But as it is, and this isn't about neutrals should get behind and fill out the stadium for the final. Absolutely not. The only time I care about going to a final is when my team are playing. And it's the same with the football as well. As soon as Everton are out of the FA Cup or the League Cup, do you think I sit there and watch the third, fourth, fifth, sixth round? Absolutely not. When we go out in the first round, that's it. Done and dusted. Forget about it till next season.
That's the spirit.
But it's like, if my team's not in it, I don't care. I'll watch a semi. If Saints had won on Friday night, I'd have watched that semi-final on Saturday. Well, if we weren't flying. But
I was going to say you'd have had a job, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
But the minute my team's not in the competition anymore, I don't care. At least we're honest.
Yeah. And I know some people do. Some people will probably go, "Oh, why don't you? You should be getting behind it for exactly the reasons that you said." Once my team's out of it, I'm not bothered. I've got other things to be getting on with.
I'm a fan of St Helens Rugby League. I'm not a fan of Rugby League. Do you want us to lie? There we go. Right, that's done and dusted. Let's get rid of Wello. He's going to enjoy his off-season and the DIY and the food. Right, give me a minute. Chapel House can stay, Kevin.
Yes.
With us all the way through 2023. They are proudly supporting us until the bitter end. And this has been quite bitter to start with. In hindsight, we've spoke about it so often over the year, about discipline letting us down, about the attack needing to click, and it just didn't, did it? And was that our game in a nutshell, or our season in a nutshell, wrapped up at Catalan?
Yes, I think so. I think it kind of summed it up quite well, that we were indisciplined. And to bring something in that someone in the comments, obviously watched the full video and was on about us chatting about certain decisions in the game. They mentioned Sione and asked our thoughts on that. I think in the ground, we both thought it was going to be a red.
Yeah. And we did say, Kevin, if we did say if we win here, we're not mentioning that on the video. We don't want to get him banned for the grand final. As it is, we got beaten. We just still forgot to mention it.
Yeah, I think it's what happens when you've not got a script, when you're literally just working off things that you remember. You always do it.
It's an instant fan reaction, Kevin.
Correct.
We instantly forget things.
But yeah, I think the discipline was the kicker. People can point at the referee and point at the penalty count, but you've got to look at it we're looking back at it now, the season as a whole, and how it's kind of affected our season, and how everybody could say we should have won that game, but we got a centre link to each card that had been sent, that had been given through the season. We ended up with 9 yellows and 1 red, and 3 of those cards all happened in the Leeds home game right at the start of the season, a game that we lost by a point.
Yeah.
So again, you want 2 games to kind of sum up how we did disciplinary wise. It's Friday night away at Catalan in the semi-final, and it's that Leeds game that you lose by a point. It's something that the players have to look at, and I understand when you start getting tired towards the end of a game, when fatigue's set in. I know someone said that they couldn't watch anymore because they didn't think it was a playoff standard game on Friday. I mean, I don't know what they were watching, because sat there in that stand and feeling like you've run every run in, that you've kicked every ball, anything like that.
I can see it from I can see their point in terms of, I thought the actual standard of play, the ball handling, etc., was poor for both sides. But the intensity level,
that's it. That's all
massive.
we're talking about. Yeah, intensity level was absolutely huge. And as it comes down to the last couple of minutes where Catalan have kicked 3 penalties. We have a man sent to the bin, and we have to defend with 12. And as it is, Sam Tompkins goes through and does, and I'm going to say, one of the best celebrations he could have done, where he recreated his backwards run, which I'm absolutely fine.
He was actually sent it by a Wigan fan on Twitter, who's tweeted it since, and basically said, fancy recreating this on Friday night. So he's obviously seen the tweet and gone and done it. It's brilliant. I'll tell you one thing that I was thinking of in hindsight. When it was 6-2 and they got that penalty and went for the 2 to make it 6-4, and we looked at each other going, why on earth are they doing that? But that's what allowed them to get it to 6-all and set up for a drop goal and run rings around us. It worked out for them in the end. What you're saying about games that have let us down, the Leeds game at the start of the year, we shouldn't have lost that. Well, we did, but they're the games you can't afford to be losing at home. And then obviously the Catalan one at home, where a straight pass goes into touch. It's all ifs, buts, and maybes. I'm sure Wigan and Catalan have both got games where they could have won, they could have lost. But we didn't finish joint top. We finished third. We were level on points and we finished third, and that is down to not scoring enough points. Defence, solid. We didn't score enough points. We didn't score as many as Catalan. We didn't score as many as Wigan. We finished third. And in other years, when we were so far ahead of the pack over the last 4 years, we could have probably overcome that. But in a side that was generally aging, obviously James, Roby right at the end of the road, Louis coming to the end. Generally a side that is, you could almost argue, a bit like Leeds' golden generation, where you just need that little bit of refresh to turn things around and put new things in. Teams caught us up this year, and we didn't quite have enough to be able to go to Catalan and get the results which you might have done 1-2 years ago. And I think that just comes down to the aging squad. Could you argue the tactics weren't right at times? Did we need to change things up a little bit, or did we just do what we could with the personnel that we had?
Well, I think sometimes people say, why have we changed it? Like, why have we changed the half playing on each side or anything like that? Unfortunately, you've got to change your style or else you become easy to play against. People find you out. People find ways of nullifying you. It seems this year they've done that anyway. I'm saying this, we still had the third best attack in the league. We had the second best defence in the league. We finished 8 points clear of fourth. So,
Kev. So basically, we finished exactly where the stats suggested we should have. Because Hull KR got battered in their semi-final, so you could say they're the fourth best team. And we narrowly missed out to Catalan. And essentially, we're the third best team. Unfortunately, in a 12-team league, being third best doesn't win you a grand final.
Correct. And this is, so it kind of leads me on to what I want to see next year a little bit. That were they the tactics of us just playing it a little bit insular? Is it the loss of Alex and possibly him not firing at full cylinders? The loss of Parsi, him not being anywhere close to being back? Losing the likes of Batch, who solidifies one side for you perfectly, but has had a couple of injuries this season. You start losing players like that, and you've got to find ways to win. Other teams have found ways to win. We've got to find a way to win. I'm hoping that next season there's a little bit more free-flowing with another pre-season, another, not full refresh, but the ideas that the coaching staff have got are embedded a little bit more. And it isn't just how we've played this season. It needs to be a little bit more off the cuff. People will look at the kicking game. We've played that kicking game for years. We've played the bomb up into the corners, almost put it into sections. You put it up into one of the two corners, and then you try and keep a team down there. That's fine, but you've got to mix that up as well.
But you also notice it more when you're looking for scapegoats as well.
Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. When you're looking for reasons and you're looking for reasons why we finished third, reasons why, in the grand scheme of things, we've finished third because we're not at the grand final and we've done best out of our semi, however you want to paint it. Yeah, you start looking for reasons why things haven't happened. And it's not necessarily, especially from my point of view, looking for a scapegoat. It's trying to look for reasons and not look for excuses. Make it a reason, not an excuse. What can we fix up next year? And I think that's what we need. You can look at people who keep mentioning Lewis Dodd, and they'll mention him till the cows come home. He's coming back from a bad injury. I want to see how he goes next year with a full pre-season. He's had a full year to get over it, a full pre-season, hopefully a bit handbrake let off him, so he can play that style that he broke into the first team with. And let's see how he goes. If he doesn't with the bathwater with him? Is
that if the move to, because obviously there's always rumours abound, if a move to the NRL doesn't come off in this off season, otherwise we're going to have to find options in halves.
Yeah, and I'd imagine, isn't his contract up at the end of next year? I'd imagine that's one that him and the club are looking at, regardless.
The one stat that I seen, Kev, which was slightly alarming, was that Jack Wellesby at fullback contributed to over a third of all of our tries scored this season, whether that was himself, or assisting. I'd love to know how that stat compares to like previous years with like Lachlan Coope, Ben Barber, etc. But it just seems alarming that over a third year of tries are coming through Jack Wellesby. And where's the rest coming through? The halves should be contributing a lot more. And it almost feels this season that we haven't created enough in the halves. Why that is for people with a better rugby brain than me to come up with, and I'm sure there'll be I won't say an inquest into what we could have done better, because then we finished third, so Paul Wellens will know that we need to get better.
But looking at what you've just said there about not an inquest, but an investigation as to why things have gone wrong. Maybe it's just we haven't dealt with losing key players, and I always talk about having partnerships built. So you can have your halves there, but if you lose Curtis Sirenen for a bit, if you lose Joe Batchelor for a bit, if you have Mark Percival, who had to play second row against Hull KR, if you've not quite got a set of left winger, if you know what I mean, like you're looking around at players and going, well, who's available here? And you really need those kind of sections to be as steady as you can be. Is that a reason? It possibly is, that all of a sudden then you've got Johnny Lomax playing on one side, but his second row has changed in the past 3 weeks because James Bell's been in, because Curtis Sirenen's been in, because Sione Matauchi's been in, because we've had to do that because of injuries. I'm not saying, and I'm not crying about injuries, I'm saying, have we just not managed that as a playing group, as a coaching group, to the utmost that we could have? It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Again, someone with a better coaching brain than me, someone with a lot more qualifications than me, will be able to put their finger on it. I'm just looking from the outside and trying to see what could be an issue. And that's something that sticks out to me.
I was going to bring up, I feel we missed having Curtis Sirenen and Joe Batchelor in the team. I'd love to know, again, the stats on how many games they actually started together this season for Saints. It can't be more than 6 or 7. And they've been, well, Joe Batchelor the last couple of years especially, has been a big part of our success. Joe Batchelor is essentially an unsung hero, and we missed him tremendously. But it's interesting what you say about the wingers as well. Although when you look at it, you could probably say whenever he was fit, Will Hopoate was first choice. But unfortunately, he was injured quite a bit. And I don't think we ever nailed down on who we wanted in the team, whether it was John Bennison or whether it was T. Ritson. And it took a long time. And I understand you need competition for places, but you also need a settled team. And injuries and suspensions and everything else contributed to us not getting that. I think there's multifaceted reasons why it didn't work out. Listen, it can be just luck sometimes. Bad luck with injuries let you down. And essentially, you could look at it, without those injuries, do we get another 2 points somewhere along the way, get a home semi-final, and march out at Old Trafford this week?
Exactly. It does take you back, what you're saying, takes you back to discipline again. As you say, you miss people because of high shots, because of late hits, etc., etc. Do you end up with a couple more points on the board early doors, so you win a couple of them games by a bit of a bigger margin? Do you end up winning a game that you've lost by a small margin that you feel like you should have won? We could sit here picking the bones out of it as it was, and I'll just put this: Wigan and Catalan were better than us this year, and that's the crux of everything. You've got two teams who were better than us this year.
One thing I do want to say, and this isn't said in hindsight, wishing for anything else, in future years, I would like to see the rules changed. I don't want to see league positions decided on points difference, or percentage points difference, whatever it is. Because for me, that you could end up in a situation there where the reason Wigan finished top is because they absolutely annihilated Hull KR, who rested everybody before the Challenge Cup final. I know there's quirks of the table and everybody can do what they should do. But if things are going to be that tight, it shouldn't come down to the look of the draw and how the fixture list lay out. The way I would like to see it would be how it's done in the football in Germany, and I think it's Spain as well, where if two teams are level on points, it is the head-to-head between those two teams which decides on which way around they finish in the table. And you know what? I don't think it would have changed anything this year. We'd still finished behind Catalan, given that they beat us home and away.
Yeah.
And I think Wigan would have finished above us anyway, based on that. But I think that'd be a fair way of deciding it. And I think it'd almost, in the big games against the likes of Catalan or Wigan, or when Leeds are playing Huddersfield or the likes or Wakefield down the bottom of the table, those games between those two teams would matter more, potentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I'm not necessarily against that. I think it's something that you could look at. So you blow out scores, as you say, and they've got Wakefield. We'll use Wakefield. They've got Wakefield this week. Wakefield have got 10 out, and you end up putting a massive score on them. People will look at it and go, yeah, well, you didn't score enough points, and that's how it is. But if you look at little ways to try and improve it, make it so, what was it, every minute matters that they had a couple of years ago. Maybe that's the way. I'm just, while I'm talking to you, trying to look through the results. And we only played Wigan twice this year.
Yeah, we'd have finished above them.
Yeah.
14-6 at their place, 34-16 at home. I just think it would be a better way of doing things. And listen, that wasn't the rules we played this season, so that's not me saying we should have had it. But I think in future years, would that be a nice way of doing it? Because it mean if Saints Wigan, say Wigan have beat us 16-6 at their place and we're tight in the table, we'd think, you know what, at home we need to beat them by 10 or more so that points difference doesn't come into it. I just think it'd be a better tiebreaker.
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, I have no problem with it. I have no problem with having a look into it and seeing the ramifications. It'd be interesting to see a league table based on that.
Yeah.
Could you do it? Could you do it with the loop fixtures in? Or would that skew it a little bit? I know you're all playing.
You'd have to maybe do it over the first home and away game.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or, is it skewed now anyway? If you have an extra home game anyway.
Yeah, true.
Just have all three. Make it easy. Yeah. I'm just thinking, we'd have finished above Wigan. How would it work if we'd have finished above Wigan, but finished below Catalan? But then Wigan should have finished above Catalan.
Get back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board.
There's got to be a way it's worked out.
Yeah.
How do they do it in Spain? Somebody with a league and experience, let us know. We'll have a look. I've just bamboozled myself on my own idea. Oh well.
I'm big.
We'll work it out. Right. That's enough for now. We might come back to bits about the 2023 season in the coming weeks, possibly, maybe, as things come up. But 2024 will soon be on the horizon. And 2024 memberships have gone on sale, Kev. Prices have gone up a little bit. Nobody likes a price increase, do they? But everything's going up in the world. Wages are going up. Costs are going up. Electricity, gas, everything else. You've got to absorb the cost somewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately so. I think there's the central funding. Is it rumoured to be going down? Has it gone down? I think they were going
to lose 10 grand just off. Or they were saying about 10 or 20 grand, weren't they, because of the grand final and the crowd being down there. But as a club, in the accounts, we lose money.
Yeah.
So you've got three options here. You either expect your directors to be able to put their hand in the pockets every year to make up the losses, which just isn't sustainable. Why should two or three fellas, and we love them for it, be dipping their hands in the pockets to keep us afloat? And then your other two options are either you don't pay up to the salary cap and you have a lesser standard of playing on the field, but if you want to stay at the top, then we just have to share the burden, and the costs have got to go up accordingly.
Yeah, I think we're in a couple of WhatsApp groups, aren't we, with people? I think one of the things that's come out is of Saints stop doing like family style tickets as well. I think there's a couple of people upset about that. I mean, from the outside, I can kind of understand their frustration with it. But
I think it's when you look at a lot of it though, it's more priced accordingly. Like, what is the traditional 2.4 children anymore? I think that was what it used to be, isn't it? There you go. That's one for the older ones. So it used to be like the family ticket might be 2 adults, 1 child, or 2 adults, 2 child. Well, what happens if it's now a single parent with 3 kids, or a single parent with 4 kids? If they've got time to come to rugby after sorting that lot out, then fair play to them. So now it's been priced accordingly, and rather than just having a 5 to 16-year-old, it's now under 5 to 3, 5 to 11, 11 to 16. So I think the younger children's tickets have gone down in price, and the 11 to 16 has gone up a little bit. I think it worked out £3 a game for your under 11s and just under £5 a game for your up to 16, which is still great value. And adult ones have rose accordingly. And again, costs have gone up for everyone. It's never nice. But I think for an adult renewal in the West Stand, you're looking at £19 a game, which is still really good value for a team at the top of the game.
Yeah, it is. Listen, the price increase is never nice, and I'm sure the club wishes that it didn't have to put prices up, but it's the way the world with bills going up. The club's still got to pay its way. 19 quid a game in the West Stand is sound. Don't know how that then manifests itself across the other stands and the gold, silver, and bronze packages, but 19 quid, I think, is more than reasonable. I wonder what people would want it to drop to if they think it is too much, especially for West Stand. We say West because got season tickets in the West, so that's our barometer of things. Other people, it might be getting a little bit too expensive for them, and obviously, in a town the size of St. Helens, St. Helens have got to make sure that they make that membership worth it. Remember a couple of years ago where there were loads of benefits off the back of it? And I'm not sure, I don't think it would cost the club anything, but it got people going into, I think you got like 10% off Subway and stuff like that. And it was a case of you could get bonuses for using your membership card somewhere else. Something like that, again, would be absolutely brilliant to get people spending money in the town, at the retail parks, making sure that it doesn't have to be on a match day as well, making sure that your membership is well worth it. I know they do money off in the club shop, but just kind of open it up and try and keep it as minimal cost as they can. So it's 10% off somewhere else, 5% off here, a tenner off there, etc. I mean, listen, I'll still be renewing because I'm in the situation that I can. But I can understand people having a look at it in a town such as ours, and hopefully they can find the way of thinking, well, you know what, for that price, for live sport, looking at the team that is world champions still at the moment, that is technically still the champions at the moment, been up at the right end of the league since Super League came in, been won it for the past 4 years, that you think that is worth it, and it gets you out and watching live sport that is a lot cheaper than the football, or your Premier League football at least, gets them out and watching that and being part of something that's special.
I was just looking at the North Stand prices, Kev, while you were talking then. They've gone up about £2 a game.
Okay.
Whatever area you're in. I think even for the peak seats in the middle of the stand, you're looking at about £26 a game for gold tickets right in the middle. By comparison, a Premier League ticket for me this year, it worked out, I think it was 625 maybe for 19 games. So Premier League is like 30, for me for the Premier League was about £33 a game. But then the junior tickets were far more expensive. Saints junior tickets is £39 for the equivalents in the football. I think I was paying, I want to say 100, maybe it's over 100, maybe a bit more, 120. It's still good value for what we get, but bills need to be paid, and obviously there'll be COVID loans due back as well.
Yeah.
The Sky deal going down. You've got to make up the money somewhere along the line.
Yeah. And hopefully Saints can use the stadium as they have done in the past and utilise the facility they've got there. So when we're talking about this next year, we're saying, memberships haven't gone up, or memberships have only gone up a tiny little bit. But
you'd like to think if we ever got to a stage where we had 17,000 season ticket holders and money was coming out of Mike Rush's ears and Neyman's ears and everyone else's ears, you could knock £10 a ticket off. I'm sure they wouldn't do that, but needs must.
I suppose it's the balance, because you think about like Huddersfield, who pretty much give their season tickets away, and
look at their product.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, our club exists to win trophies. You're funding the first team. You're funding the development pathways. You're funding the whole club, and that's what's allowing us to stay consistently at the top. And also, you still get your academy reserve and all the women's games included as well, which are more than good value. So fingers crossed, renewals go well. I'm sure they will, as always. Judging how we took 800 to France at 6 days' notice, a fervent, loyal fan base, and we'll be back next season. I just noticed on the membership picture at the moment, we've just got Daryl Clark on at the moment. Obviously, Matt Whitley, if you believe everything, will be announced very shortly. Apparently, his house hunting in Eccleston. There you go. In between flying to Catalan and playing for them, he's doing everything. He's Superman. But he'll be announced shortly. But given that Wigan have made so many signings for next season and their recruitment has been so good, and they've made the final this year, are they the benchmark for 2024? And do we still need to bring people in, or is that for another episode?
It's probably for another episode, but if you want an answer now, they probably are the benchmark. It's every signing is a risk of them settling into your style of play, your culture, and getting a full good season out of them. Every signing is a risk. Doesn't matter who it is. Ben Barbo's a risk. Josh Perry was a risk. Conrad Harrell's a risk. James Belt, etc. I feel like I've said etc. a lot. That'll be what people whinge about in the comments.
Who's this new player we're getting in? Mr. etc.
Mr. etc. But from the outside, it looks like they've recruited very well. But what's happened is they've not won the league for, however, was it 2018 they were last in the grand final? No, 2020, because we beat them in the last minute. I don't know if you remember it. It was Jack Welsby.
In COVID times, yeah.
Yes, it was. No, I think before that was 2018 that they were in. So they've had that kind of period where they've not been in the grand final, and they've probably managed their salary cap. So now it's all fitting into place. I think that's one thing I want to say as well. When people talk about salary, about bringing players in, it feels like they're playing fancy rugby league. Or, we need a winger, we need a halfback, we need a prop, we need whatever. All right, so who are you getting rid of? Because if you rip his contract up, guess what? you're not going to be signing this caliber of player. It doesn't work like that. Stop being, I was going to call people a word then, and I'm not going to. Stop being naive is the phrase I'm going to go with. You can't just rip up players' contracts because you think that you need to do it. Sports cyclical.
Yeah. Oh, and we've said that quite a lot about how sports is cyclical in this past. We're not going into it big time, but do you know what? Will Opawati got fit at the end of the year, contributed in that semi-final, ended on a good note. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Right.
Yep.
Kev, we're here during the off-season all year. We've got plenty to come. We've got a nice giveaway next week. So make sure you watch the video, give us a follow, and we will show you there's a prize for you to win next week. Hopefully, we might have an event coming up soon if we can work things out. We've got the Player of the Year awards, the Redvee awards, which we're going to do. We've got a couple of...
Stop giving stuff away. Let people wait. Let people wait.
What else have we got? No, but if I say it, then we've got to do it rather than being lazy. Yeah, and then we've got a few other series along the way, which some of them will start, and we want people to contribute as well and come on and do their piece.
We want people on. We want people on with us so we can talk about one of the series that we're going to do. We want people on to talk about, not just, and we'll probably have the familiar faces who come on when me and Dave are otherwise engaged, but also we want different faces on just to have a chat with regards to one of the series that we are going to do. We are going to do it as well.
Yes. Do you know what? I will say, we were discussing whether we were going to talk about it. It's very male dominated, this channel, and not through, not just the way. Just maybe people are more confident to come on. And do you know what? There's so many. Obviously, the women who come watching Saints probably make up half our fan base, and the more knowledgeable than me, you, a lot of fans. We want you on. If you want to come on, give us a shout. Because you're more than welcome. Don't feel that it's just fat, 40, balding, middle-aged fellas who can come on. That's me and you, Kev.
I was going to say that is the most accurate description of me that anybody's ever said.
But yeah, any of our younger lads, girls, who follow Saints home and away, who come and chat to us, usually bevied up outside the pub in Perpignan. If you want to come on, give us a shout. You're more than welcome. Older fans, people from the older generations who've seen players that we haven't, if you ever want to come on and have a chat, more than welcome. We want people on because people don't want to just listen to us all winter, do they, Kev?
I wouldn't imagine so, no.
Even we're not watching this back.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we will catch you next week for the Redvee Player of the Year award, where they will get this wonderful little trophy that you can see at the side of me. It's a must win, Kev. It is a must win.
A must win.
Right, catch you soon. Have a good weekend. Whatever you're doing, gardening, DIY, shopping in Aldi. Other supermarkets are available. Bye.